All right, everybody, this will be a warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 155. What are we up to now? F, I believe. And I just uploaded a real short one there and titled it Portland Zombies. Now, you'll see them all over up there. And you also see them down in LA and other places in the country. But with the legalization of all drugs they did in Oregon, it was really freaking stupid. So I was able to take that while I was driving there because it's, just a side street, slow speed limit and stuff. But on the way out of there, anybody who's been on the I-5, up through Seattle and down through Portland and stuff, especially around Portland, the homeless encampments, the tents, the tarps, the shopping carts, the garbage, the utter squalor that these people are living in. What is wrong with the people running that city? Do you expect charities to do it all on their own? I mean, that used to be a really nice city, and now it's turned in. I don't remember seeing garbage and stuff like that along a freeway since like the 70s in New York and northern New Jersey, and even it wasn't that as bad as that. And remember, then they came out with the crying Indian and everything about taking care of the land and don't litter and all that, and people started cleaning stuff up. And Portland and all of all over the West Coast, you got all the environmentalists so worried about the garbage and the plastics getting into the environment. Well, you ought to take a trip along I-5 and see it all. Just mountains of garbage and squalor where these homeless encampments are. Why are you gonna let more people into the country? These illegals and everything like that. Oh, we gotta do something for. You got tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people right here in this country, homeless and without jobs and living in squalor. And looking at all, maybe that's part of their plan, their Agenda 21 plan and AOC's plan is just to run all these cities into make them just so desolate. Like Camden, New Jersey, and just where nobody can live there. To where they say, see, we got to go on with this. Look at this. Humanity can't. Look, we got too many people. And they'll justify euthanasia and stuff. And, all the stuff with that Agenda 21. Which I haven't looked into that whole thing yet, but there's an awful lot of it that if you look at the Kali Yuga and stuff, seems like it falls into place there, because in that thing about the Kali Yuga, they talked about, there's going to be these cities and stuff built, and all the foul stuff and everything's going to be allowed, and all that, and then the rider on the white horse comes, which you also find in Christianity, and with his armies, and fights all the bad, and then there'll be the right kind of cities built and things like that, and places for people to live. And I forget how many what'd they say it was? 400,000 years or 4 million years the Kali Yuga period's supposed to be, and there's supposed to be like a 10,000 year period they call the golden period, where there will be good stuff, and then it gets real bad after that. Which, if you look at the Book of Revelations, that's also there. But and it talks about demonic creatures and demigods, and more or less just humankind becoming like animals, cannibalism. You'll find that in the Gospel of Barnabas too, which is why I say look at that that movie Soylent Green. Now here's my point about all this. The way we think of things happening is we're taught, everything is going to be like global, just this massive onslaught at once. But I think unless you have a really keen eye, I think because each generation passes away, and then you come up, and what's going on around you is like, well, this is normal life, unless you have some direction, and especially within religion, to show you that what's around you isn't normal. You need something to compare what's going on around, because if everybody is just going with the flow, and all the governments are in on it, and no one's objecting to anything and stuff, you're just going to think that's normal. So for each generation, it might get harder to realize that things aren't right. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like for us traveling around, in jets and stuff like that and everything. That's normal. But bring somebody from 250 years ago into our time and stuff, and it would be apparent to them that that's way different than what they're used to. And so who knows, maybe when it talks about cannibalism, maybe it's like you see all these Hollywood people and athletes and stuff, and they get the stem cells and other parts of the aborted fetuses, to inject it into them to help heal their bodies and stuff. And then they're, even sicker than that is, they get injected with stuff so they can look younger. And there wasn't too long ago, they recorded that woman from Planned Parenthood talking about, how they sell the fetuses and stuff like that. And it's really morbid stuff. And to these people, you see what I'm saying? That kind of stuff seems normal to them. And so it's like in the gospel, it says, people end up, there'll be no such thing as sin, and people have seared consciences. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, it's late. It's been a very long day. So if you get a chance, check out that movie Soylent Green. That's why I say I think it'd be a good thing if, Schwarzenegger remade that and played Charlton Heston's part. If you look at that Logan's Run and check out that Agenda 21 stuff, and You know, maybe they've been working on this stuff a long time, trying to prep our minds, you know, subconsciously to accept all this stuff. And like I said, you know, the prophets of God talk about the order of God and the cause of God and the type of humanity and global system, if you'll have it, that he wants. And that, you know, maybe this other stuff is all nefarious stuff, gonna take humanity to the very bottom before the order and the cause of God is established. Like I say, I got to do more research and see what Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha said about things in the Baha'i faith. But yeah, if you read the Gospel of Barnabas and look at that Kali Yuga and you know, watch them movies like, you know, Soylent Green, Logan's Run, even that Gargoyles. It's called the Gargoyles movie. Archaeologist and his daughter in the desert, I believe in Arizona. Come across these creatures that have been living below ground for centuries, and they're like starting to come back out and stuff. And you know, and if you reference that to the Hindu teachings and stuff, they talk about like these lizard people below and stuff. And then the David Icke guy talks about, you know, all the big powerful families are, you know, these lizard people and stuff. And you look at all the UFO sightings and you know, the descriptions of these aliens, you know, and people saying they've been abducted and had, you know, experiments done on them, or you know, women say they've been impregnated, or their babies have been taken, all kinds of weird stuff. And when you look at the cosmology and everything, and the hierarchy of, you know, in Christianity and Islam, you'd call them, you know, demons and angels and jinn and stuff. And then in Hindu, they all got names for that kind of stuff too. You look at all that stuff, and you know, there's a lot of similarities, and you got to start looking at, you know, a lot of things that people are reporting, and you got to go, is this all connected? So, you know, because, you know, everyone's kind of like, so involved with their lives, like I said, you know, just what they think is normal life and stuff. And, they don't pay attention to stuff. And then, like I say, each generation's born into a situation where pretty much the whole world is changed, you know, and you see it change and go from, you know, what it was to getting worse, and you know, by the time the next generation comes along, you know, that's normal, and it's going to really take something really bad happening or whatever, you know, to make them understand it's getting worse, and not better, unless they have some religious teachings. So excuse me. Honestly, do yourself a favor and look at those things, the Gospel of Barnabas and the Kali Yuga, and you know, and then especially look at the Baha'i faith, and and Revelations you can compare to the Kali Yuga stuff. And there's a lot of the hadiths. I mean, there's a lot in the Quran, but then there's also a lot of hadiths about how bad it will get that also match up to what you see in the Kali Yuga and the Gospel of Barnabas and Revelations and other prophetic things in the Bible from prophets gone by. And then one thing I found that was pretty neat was the birth years. Right, there's a verse in the Bible in Deuteronomy 18:18, and it says, more or less, God says, and he will send forth his prophet, and anyone who does not listen to that prophet, he will call them to account, for it. And so you can apply that, through time to all the prophets and stuff, but like to Jesus, or then I was thinking, is Muhammad, and you can apply it to Muhammad and you can apply it to Jesus, because both delivered a message from our Creator. But I was looking, because I knew the Bab and Baha'u'llah were born in the 1800s, so it occurred to me the number, and you see a lot of things about Bible codes and stuff like this, and stuff, and people connecting dots here and there, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But so I don't want to say, aha, look at this, I got proof and this is exactly what it is. I'm just saying it kind of made me go, whoa. But Baha'u'llah was born in 1817, and the Bab was born in 1819. And I meant to look back up and see exactly which months they were, and if it was within a year's time, month-wise. And that's another thing about time. Like I said, the Book of Enoch, and in the Book of Enoch, he says they calculate the ages and stuff wrong. And I talked about how every culture around the world has them spiral-looking things, or circular calendars and things like that, and it's all for the measuring of the ages. And even Jesus talked about the age, the end of the age and stuff. So this is a common understanding that's been lost in the Western world. We don't think is in the way of ages and then things starting back over again. We just think a thing is progressing, just keep going forward. And if it's all on the right path going forward, I think it'll keep going forward. Because I was also looking at some Zoroastrian and the people, a lot of people call him Zoroaster, but that was the Greek name for him. It's really Zarathustra. And he talked about breaking the cycle of how everything, it goes along, and everything gets bad, and then it has to be recreated and start over again. But if we would all get on the right page and everything, that bad part wouldn't happen, and we would just keep progressing forward. So every culture had this idea of the ages and times and stuff, and that's why you see all these things around the world, marking the solstices, and there's other things people can't figure out in these temples and stuff, and they know they were looking at the stars, but they don't know why and stuff. And every culture, the zodiac, as we might know it in the West, wasn't known by the same names and stuff in other cultures, ancient cultures, but they did use those star systems, and you got to think, and if they're in different parts of the world, even if they're looking at the same star system that we are, it might appear different to them there, so they might name it for a different creature or demigod or what have you, whatever they're named after. And so they would use the stars and look and to mark time and stuff. It didn't get to the your daily horoscope stuff until much later, and I think that might have been done to throw people off the track too, as to what really was going on and marking the ages. So and there you'll see thousands of books by Christians, of trying to decipher prophecy and this and that, and figuring out times and everything, and they've changed the calendar so much, and then you got the Roman Greco, and then everyone used to be on a lunar calendar, and so many things have changed, them trying to figure things out and stuff, they might be getting thrown way off. But no matter what religion you study, one of the things it talks about is the corruption of the religious leaders, and that's why a lot of people are misled. And like I said, there's probably a lot of people go along with things because that's what they were taught, and they never thought about what they were being taught was right or wrong. Just seemed like seemed right to them or what have you. Then I do believe there's a lot of people who deceive on purpose, and they know they are. Like when they tell you to discount other religions around the world, and they try and point to things within those religions and say, aha, look, this is, and they try and relate it to something, some evil kingdom or some evil religion or this and that, and they totally mislead you into think, like in this country, a lot of preachers, denouncing the Prophet Muhammad and the Quran and all that stuff, and lots of people, celebrities and stuff, mocking, and news people, oh yeah, the religion of peace and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's left or right. A lot of them have made a huge mistake in speaking evil of the Prophet Muhammad, and it's gonna be hard on them come Judgment Day. But because all the prophets came, served, delivered a message from God. There's one God. So it's interesting with that Zoroastrian or Zarathustra stuff. He talks about the demigods and the titans and this and that, and so I'm going to look into that more, because there's a lot of Greek mythology and European mythology and stuff, and then you have all the deities or demigods of the Hindu religion and stuff. Like I said, there was a lot in common through humanity, and if any semblance of order, I can gather from it and everything, and who's who and what's what type stuff. I think it's worthwhile, and see how it all fits into everything in the timeline. If I can figure anything out, and then most importantly, I'll look and see what Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha had to say about things, and Shoghi Effendi, and just try and get a clearer, bigger picture of what's going on and where we're at. But definitely, like they say, the frog in the boiling pot, doesn't know the water's getting hot until it's too late, Whereas if you threw him into the scalding water, he'd jump right out. But if you gradually heat it up, he just sits there. So maybe a lot of these apocalyptic and horrific things in the end of the age are already going on, and the deceivers are just out there spewing all kinds of excuses for everything, and denying it. And then who knows, maybe all these celebrities, that are all supposed to be part of Illuminati and all, maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe they'll all have roots, in the or some of them anyway. Maybe they're part of these fallen ones, or these demonic ones, or the jinn, or whatever, the Christians, say the mixing of the Nephilim and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know, if all that stuff is past, and they were already wiped out, and Christians say there's supposed to be a return of them and that kind of stuff going on. So I don't know. So I got to study more, and before you start actually accusing people of being demons and junk like that. I shouldn't say junk, because if it's true, it's not junk, huh? But I know it all sounds strange. There's a lot of strange stuff when people say, oh, religion, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff, you'll go and sit in a movie theater and watch all kinds of junk, and that's like really strange or far out there and everything, and then but you won't look into religion that has a lot of layers of knowledge and of history and things about the future and all kinds of stuff. So I find it all really interesting, and even though a lot of it's scary, you think what condition humanity is going to finally get to. So, and then looking at what's going on with the politics of the world and things, and a lot of these things don't make any sense these politicians are doing, legalizing drugs, and all the transgender stuff, and the breaking up of families, and all this kind of stuff you hear that they have in their agendas, and it's like, if they aren't demons or what have you, they got to be under demonic influence. Some of the stuff they're pushing to just destroy humanity, and the weapons they come up with, and Just, you gotta wonder sometimes, you know. So anyway, wish you all the best out there, and you know, if I find any other interesting stuff out, I'll let you know. You know, when I get home, I'm gonna have to hit up hit up the bookstore and get some of these texts I'm you know, wanting to read. And I mean, because you can learn stuff off of YouTube and stuff, and but it's always, you always, if you can sit and read for a bit, it's sinks in, I think, better. So anyway, wish you all the best out there. God bless. Look into those things, and you know, check out that movie Soylent Green with Charlton Heston. You know, because like I said, you know, they talk about cannibalism towards the end of the age and stuff, and it's like, well, what if you know, it ain't out and out like you think it's gonna be? What if it's something, you know, there's food shortages and stuff like in that movie, and they feed all of us this junk while they're living high on the hog and eating real meat, you know? That's, you know, spoiler alert, I just told you about part of the movie, but check it out, and you'll see what I mean. All right, wish you all the best. God bless.